everyone, welcome to another episode of The Silicon Dreams. I am your host, RJ Sonia, founder of Orbis 86, and joining me in the studio today we have David Goldsmith. David is an amazing serial entrepreneur and investor, and he also has a great global perspective because he has worked in over 50 countries, founded over 20 businesses. He has also taught at New York University, won multiple awards, and is a prolific speaker himself. You can find him hosting the podcasts The Age of Infinite and Redefining Tomorrow. David, welcome to the Silicon Dreams. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience in your own words?
Well, you've given a lot to start with. I would say that I am a globalist, having worked around the world. I'm interested in almost anything, nanotechnology, aerospace, water and sewage, construction. I've written a book called Paid to Think. And in terms of who I am, I just enjoy life. I've lived in Hong Kong for over a decade. I've lived in Luxembourg, lived in the States, had a place in San Francisco for a period of time. So just the person who enjoys the world.
You have worked in countries all on all continents except for Antarctica, it seems like. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yes, if you went around the world, as Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, as you heard, China, but you could travel over. I've worked in Russia, I've worked in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Macedonia, all the way through to Colombia, Mexico, United States. So you just travel the world, had a business in South Africa. The combination of those things kind of tie together. So yes, I've had some great experiences over the years, and I don't count speaking as working. To me, working is staying in country. So working in Bangladesh for a period of time, or working in Lithuania, or any of these countries is what I consider to be a part of who I am. So yeah, it's an amazing world. It's changed a lot in the past few years, but amazing world.
It has changed, but it's amazing. And for folks listening in, David has also worked in India, and he has worked with the likes of Azim Premji, Nandan Nilekani during his stint in India. But instead of focusing on that, we are going to focus on what David is working on right now. David, I hear that you're working on something that has the potential to impact all life on planet Earth. Do you want to throw some light on what is Project Moonhut?
Okay, I'll give you a very short summary and then give you our directive. If you're going to solve or address complex challenges, such as what we're facing in the tomorrows to come, you cannot solve them with individual approaches, such as, I want to solve climate change. You can't solve climate change. You can only address it. So what you have to do is make a different type of an approach. And the one that we're using is leveraging innovation, collaboration, and the ability to be able to paradigm shift the world in a short 40-year timeline. And so what we're doing is we're establishing a box with a roof and a door on the moon through the accelerated development of an Earth and space-based ecosystem. And then to take those innovations and the paradigm shifting thinking that come from the endeavor and turning it back on Earth to improve how we live on Earth for all species. So very quickly, we were named Project Moonhut by NASA. Hey, NASA gives you a name, you take it because it's a brand, but we're not about the moon. We're about Earth. So here's a very simple construct. If you think about, or you've heard people talk about going to space, they always say, well, we're going to create go to space, create the innovations and turn them back on Earth. It's not how it works. I mean, Sonia, think about it. How many innovations do you think have ever been created in space? Now, I'll give you the answer just because of time. None. See, what happens is millions of people have to rethink what they're addressing. Extreme cold, minus 133 C, plus 122 C, no oxygen, no water, no atmosphere, no gravity. You have to solve complex challenges. And those people ask different questions of themselves. However, all the innovations happened on Earth. All of the innovations happened on Earth. So therefore, when someone gets up there, they might have a discovery. They might invent a small thing, but relative to how many people it took to make that happen, it's almost infinitesimal. So what if we accelerated the way we worked on Earth with new questions? And then we created new dynamics and new ways of thinking, which in turn create more innovations, which create more innovations that'll address extreme cold, extreme heat, challenges with space, challenges with all the things we're facing on this planet. So it's kind of a counterintuitive approach to addressing, you can't fix climate change, to addressing the challenges that we have on Earth, which we call the 6 mega challenges.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the listeners would definitely resonate with the challenges of heat, especially as this summer in California, we are breaking a lot of the previous milestone recordings that have been recorded for heat, including in areas like Palm Springs or even Death Valley, and just the general populated areas too. But let me ask you this. You did mention, right, that a lot of the innovations, in fact, all of the innovations have come from Earth and none from the space. So that brings to mind a question. If everything has been innovated on Earth, then why is this project about building on the moon and not about building on Earth?
Okay, good question. So let me give you two things that'll tie that together. First of all, your entire life is space oriented. You just don't know it. It wouldn't be the way we think. The glasses you and I are both wearing are space technology, water filtration, air filtration. Our tires last 20 to 30% longer. If anybody's ever had a CAT scan, that's space technology. Cordless headsets. You can attribute some of cloud computing, the resistance in a laptop so it dissipates heat. Solar panels. When you pick up your phone, you look at the weather. That's from space. You also, everybody's using GPS around the world to be able to move goods and services that allow you to live. And even the phone on the back is a camera phone, and that was developed for space technology, as well as the cordless power tool. So all of those things came about because someone was trying to solve a challenge that was beyond Earth. Now, the question is, why the moon? Humans need something to move forward to solve, to address, to look at. And the challenge that we have is we're trying to use old ways of thinking to solve new challenges. So you need something that's, I call it AIM. This is one of acronyms I came up a long time ago. Aspirational, inspirational, motivational, educational, and directional. Aspirational, inspirational, motivational, educational, and directional. If you have something that fulfills all of those, people get excited. So aspirationally, wow, there are enough people who want to go to the moon. Well, they could work on it. There are people who are excited. Inspirational. Never thought that was possible. I mean, do you think it really could be? Motivational. Wow, if we could address those challenges, but how? Educational, I learned something, and directional, well, that's the focus. But we're building a platform. We have a tech transfer team. We have an immersive team. We're working on new materials. We have a new logistics operations. So we have all of the things. We have an immersive side. It's called, the immersive side is leveraging AR, VR, digital twin, haptics, 3D, 4D, gaming, toys, but immersive a little bit bigger. See, a book is immersive, right? You get immersed in a book. You go to a movie, that's immersive. You could also say seeing poetry is immersive, going to a concert's immersive. So what if we just change the language of the world by using these unbelievable technologies to redefine how we talk about tomorrow in this new world, which kind of like the moon, it becomes the 8th continent, and we bring it together and it redefines how we look at the future. And it's too much to go into on this program, but there's definitely a huge connection between how we are building it and what we're doing. So we're an Earth-focused operation. However, we do have a piece. It's a large piece economically, but it's not the piece that'll change the world. We have a platform we're building using artificial intelligence, machine learning, predictive analytics, network analysis, and all of those fancy words that our team is putting together, which is pretty incredible, the people that we've have helping us.
David, I think a lot of people, especially in India, there was a movie that became very popular. It was called Three Idiots. And there was one innovation from space which was referenced in the movie, and I think a lot of people will remember that, which was the ballpoint pen. So even some small things like the ballpoint pen were invented because of challenges in space. They couldn't use the ink pen, and they couldn't even use a pencil up there because if the
No,
letter
you can use it. You could use a pencil. The Russians used the pencil. So yes,
well,
just
the
so you know, the
reason the
Russians
reason
did use the
why
pencil.
they wouldn't use a lead pencil is because if the nib broke, then in zero gravity it would just keep moving
Yep.
around. So with those things being said, I before we proceed further, right? Perhaps it would be great to at least talk about the six mega challenges. If you can just quickly sum it up for the people who are listening in, because your project
Okay.
addresses those six mega challenges. So perhaps in short, you can just give a one line or two line summary of what are
I'll
those
give you a
six
definition and a try to do a one liner. Let me very quickly. I'll set it up first. On there are organizations around the world who've set things such as the 17 SDGs, and by the year 2030, they will not hit a single target. And by the way, there aren't 17 goals. There's only 2 goals. The rest of them are initiatives or beliefs or structures. There's a paper we've written on it. So people, you have to give a focus. And if you think about it, there are 6 things happening on this planet that if we don't address them, well, then the world will be very different. So we have climate change, mass extinction, ecosystems collapses. Those are ecosystems collapsing over time. We're seeing that happening all over the place. It's not a ecosystem or an ecosystems. Then we have displacement, unrest, and explosive impact. Those explosive impact are for things that humans do that are over the top, that are uncategorically able to put into a pile. So those 6 and are what we have to address, because everything else gets thrown out the window if those 6 aren't addressed. They're a lot easier to remember. People remember things in threes. You get a number 3 and 3. And it also is very focused. So we're not solving world peace. That's not our objective. Our objective is not to, create gender equality. That's not our objective. Those come after we address the foundational pieces of what our planet needs. And we have a lot of information on what those mean.
So even though this is a project, as you mentioned earlier, right, which is happening on the moon, the idea is for it to impact life on Earth as we know it. Now, for an impact that could touch the lives of 8 billion people and perhaps more as we continue to grow in numbers, I would like to ask you
Mhm.
whether this is a project that can be addressed or achieved in a single generation, or is it a multi generational project? In the beginning, you did say that this is a 40-year program, so it definitely sounds massive. And I would love to ask you what's that 40-year timeline, and why can this not be achieved lesser in lesser time perhaps?
Okay, so first, it is an Earth project. If you think about it, everybody who's going to be working on Earth will have 8 people, then 90, then 578, then 1,644. That's it. The second is, so it's an Earth project. Earth, Earth, Earth. We're all going to do everything on Earth. There's going to be very few people going beyond Earth. The second is that this 40 years, take your age and add 40 years to it. That's what it will be. Think of what the world will be like in 40 years, realistically, not the dreams that you have. You could be optimistic and think we're going to have robots taking care of the world and flying cars and everything. Hey, look, I woke up in a bed. There are sheets in my bed. I use the toilet. There's no ray beams in my shower, and I still use 1945 microwave technology to warm my milk. Or you could be pessimistic, and 30% of the individuals under the age of 30 on the planet today believe there's no future in the future. So that's a challenge. Now, in those 40 years, my children could have children, You might be able to have 2 generations or 3. So this is a single generation. Now, you're asking the question, how do we make this go faster? The challenge is the work that we're looking to do has to take time to evolve. The technology that we're working on, the approaches we're building are going to disseminate around the world. And like anything, we have to create that. If you've ever seen Braveheart, where the individuals come over the hill, you've seen this in many movies where you have this whole army comes over. We're building people who are helping us worldwide. The KPMGs, Deloitte's, PwC, EY, Kirkland and Ellis, Maples Group, White and Case. But we also have individuals who've worked. The guy who invented the text messaging system and built it for Amazon is on our team. One of the top ontologists in the world is on our team. So we have individuals who are helping us, and it does take time. So we expect that within that timeline, a few things have to happen. Now, we're just talking tech, but we also have to paradigm shift, and the world is really not ready for a lot of things. So in the next 23 years, the world will not be what we had in the past 25. So What that means is take some kids that you know and add 20 years to them. Well, how old will they be? Well, 3.2 billion people will die of old age by the year 2050. Those new people have to substitute new people. And then we're going to have conflicts. We're at the highest rate of conflicts in recorded history. We're going to continue to have conflicts, and that will also diminish where Mexico City is running out of water. They have 22 million people and running out of water. The largest lake in Argentina has run out of water. There's a lake in Southeast Asia, the largest lake, I think it's near Pakistan or Afghanistan, that has run out of water. Now, these things such as Libya and Hong Kong and Greece all being destroyed by hurricanes, we had 12 in 10 days. All of those things are going to have a fundamental shift on what humans in the next 20 years are going to say what's important to them. And we'll come out the other side. So there's a timeline: building, getting to the moon, doing the work, building the platforms, building the tech transfer, working on the immersive, new materials, logistics transfer. All of those things are built into a baked in 40-year plan. I don't know if I said that well.
That was fine, but it is definitely a lot to envision, right? And I can see
Yes,
where
it
it is
is.
coming from, right? Because there are challenges to be achieved. And if you look at how long our human generations have existed, we have been on Earth for a few thousand years ourselves, right? Our evolution, in fact, took a much longer time. And here we are talking about a massive paradigm shift. So, in the grand scale of things, 40 years obviously is a small drop in the big bucket of time. But that being said, as human beings, we can't always perceive things at that scale. So I would love to ask
Correct.
you that more realistically, if we were looking at 5 year plans, because most of the times the governments are coming up with 4 year, 5 year plans. So let me ask you this, right? Just like it so happens to be also a very popular job interview question. But let me ask you that in 5 years, what can we expect to see coming out of Project Moonhut?
Okay, first of all, most individuals have not heard about us. We have been very quiet. We'd rather do the work than be out there saying all the things about. Look, I wake up every day and this is not an easy job. I do not love it. It is not my passion. I just think I need to do it. And so does some of our team members absolutely love it, but I'm not one of those. It's very, very difficult. So in the next 5 years, we're going to see a few things that'll happen that I can share with you today. A lot of it will happen in the background. It's kind of building that foundation to get to the next level. But one of them will be a platform that we're working on that I shared a little bit, using the computational social science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, synthetic engineering, all sorts of new ways of looking at the world. We're also going to see a fundamental change in the way we talk. For example, we're hoping we call the moon and earth mirth. Now, a new name changes a new dynamic. And you might not have ever thought about this, but the moon and the earth are the only symbiotic celestial bodies in our solar system. Pluto has one circling around it, but it's not the same and it's far out there. But ours is very connected, meaning it keeps our axis of rotation the way it is. It keeps our Earth spinning at the speed, keeps our climate changing. The tides change because of it. We came out of the oceans in that way. If you think about women's biological cycles, animals' biological cycles, we hunted by the light of the moon, and animals still do. So the moon and Earth are very symbiotic. So just imagine this. You don't have to be a space person. I am not a space person. I do not look up. I look out. I love green grass. I like going outside. I really don't have a dream to be on the moon. However, maybe I'd go one day. Imagine waking up tomorrow, just tomorrow, and there are 8 people on the moon. From the study of Silicon Valley, from the study of business, you are drinking your coffee or your tea, whatever you have, and you say to yourself, wow, we have 8 people on the moon. I wonder what that's like. And you're now asking a new question. You might do some research: extreme heat, extreme cold, radiation. Wow, how did they solve that? I'm not investing in this area. Maybe I should invest in this area. And so that's one piece of it. The other side is very quickly, humans fill space. When you were a little girl, you might have had a sister or brother in your room, your space, my space. When you grew up, you went to university, you have your space. We have shared space, we have my space. If you had an apartment, you got space that you could fill. If you have a home, if you eventually got a home, you know where your property line ends and starts. You fill your space. If you live in a community, you know where your lines are. You pick up your snow plow or you stop doing work on a line. and countries have space. We know what our space is. The challenges on Earth today, we've filled all the space. You want to go to Mount Everest? Thousands of people have been there. You want to go to Italy or to France and get a picture in front of a tower? Well, 5,000 of your best friends will be there. However, well, what that's translated to is humans want to do two things. They want to be influencers. Oh, I got to be an influencer. Or they want to accumulate. When did you need $1 billion? I mean, seriously, when? But that's all that's left. But now with Mirth, it's a new geography. If you said to me, go to space, I don't care. I really don't, like Mars and Venus, and I really don't care. However, if you gave me a geography that I could work within, that an ecosystem is being built within, and we have a professor from the University of Messina who wrote the first two papers on Mirth economics, and we had Wouter, who's out of Netherlands. He wrote a paper on complex variation by design on steroids. It just changes our dynamics of possibilities. So we're tying all this together, human psychology and technology, to create a new future.
That sounds, again, a lot to take in. But to sum it up,
yes.
To sum it up, it seems like in the first 5 years, or next 5 years rather, what we are going to see is some of this foundational infra and platform being set up, right? So that we can
and tech transfer and immersive. You might see, we hope to see Star Trek, Captain Kirk on the bridge saying, take us out of Mirth. And 100 million people pick up their phone and say, what the F is Mirth? Oh, Moon and Earth. I got it. And that's a transformational shift. Learning a new language teaches you new things. Having new words changes who you are. So that's why learning a new language changes your understanding of people. So it's all baked into what we're doing. You're on mute. You're on mute.
And for the audiences listening in, you have already heard the definition of Mirth here, Moon and Earth. So you are a step ahead of others in the race. That's a new word for everyone out there to learn. And finally, since we're coming towards the end of our program, I would love to ask you, David, that for everybody who is listening in, considering how Project Moonhut can impact all of our lives and the lives of our future generation, is there a call to action that you would want to put out so that the people could contribute or even just follow along?
Okay. It's a very, very scary proposition to put something out there today. Yet, yes, there are, but so many people are helping us all over the world in so many different capacities. It's unbelievable. From people doing our podcasting, we have 17 law firms around the world who offer to do their office actions for us. I mean, it's just incredible, the outpouring that's come. A company, Maples Group in Cayman Islands, they've given us $40,000 a year in free value because they're at sea level. They want to help us because they see things changing. So the call to action would be go to projectmoonhut.org, and there are 3 videos at the bottom. I suggest the first 2. You could watch the third. They're not short. We're a 40-year plan. They're a little older. We have some things that have changed, but the core constructs are there. So watch that. If you're still interested and you want to help, you have no clue where you could help us because there are so many places you can help. So I would ask people to reach out to us and say, I'd like to have a call. And I am called on our team, the Human Pathfinder. I help you find a home. So we have people who are only working in Beyond Earth. We have people only writing papers. We have people only doing certain things, and it's not like full time, and some are heavily invested. So we've had people on our team for years, and we also have people who once a month help us with something. So go there, and that would be the starting point. So the call to action is just to learn more. And then from there, reach out if it inspires you, if it sounds like you'd like to know more, and we'll help you find that home.
Perfect. Again, guys, it's projectmoonhut.org. This is the place to find more about the project, find out about the box on the moon with a roof, Moonhut. Also find out more about
a home.
Mirth.
Yeah.
A home on the moon, yes. And David, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
You could reach me at david@moonhut.org or david@davidgoldsmith.com. You also can reach out to us through the website, projectmoonhut.org, LinkedIn, get a lot of connections that way. So there's many ways to find me, unfortunately, in today's times.
Well, guys, you heard it. That's where you can go and find David Goldsmith. And who knows, you may also just find him speaking at one of the conferences around you because he does a lot of speaking engagements as well. And again, if you want to follow along and watch his interviews with some of the other great folks in our generation, make sure to go ahead and give a follow to the Age of Infinite or Redefining Tomorrow podcasts. And with that, David, is there a last parting message you'd like to leave our audiences with?
I don't normally have one, but I said something today that if you could dream it, you could believe it. If you could believe it, it could be done. But I don't come at it as motivational. Most people think of that as motivational. I'm a planner, and I spend a lot of time thinking about how things should be done right. Done 3 TEDx talks. I'm always thinking about it. So if you could dream it, you could believe it. If you could believe it, it could be done. Question or challenge is up to you if you're willing to take the next step.
All right, guys, there you go. It right. If you can dream it, right, and then you can believe it, you can get it done. And with that, guys, this is RG Sonia signing off. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Silicon Dreams on Radio Zindagi 1550 AM. See you again next Monday.